So one of the questions I got this week from one of my friends was, what the heck is Threads and why do I need it? And I think that's been kind of like you said, it's funny that you mentioned it too. I immediately thought of when I was growing up, it was computers are obsolete within like 2 or 3 months just because of how fast everything was moving. And nowadays it's what app is obsolete, or so you can think about, I grew up on MySpace and how quickly that came and faded, and Facebook and then Instagram and all the new ones that have come along. And now we have this new app called Threads. It's a meta platform app that's essentially a Elon versus Zuckerberg kind of Twitter, anti-Twitter that people have kind of jumped into. And so it has a similar format. It's not exactly the same, but the way that it's laid out, there's not really pictures. It's just kind of a conversation text format for people to kind of share their ideas or thoughts.
I mean, I think it's been pitched out there a lot as like the anti-Twitter. And I'm not sure that, obviously, with some of the changes that Elon Musk has made, there's been a desire to have an alternative platform for a variety of reasons. But I'm not so sure that Mark Zuckerberg is launching Threads based on that. I think there was a plan all along to launch a Twitter-oriented type of program. And what Elon's doing at Twitter just sort of maybe sped that process up, or maybe created a little bit better demand. One of the things I think that's caused Threads to blow up, and if you're not familiar with Threads, it's definitely something. It's one of the fastest apps. I'm not sure if it is the number one, but it's one of the fastest growing downloaded apps online. I think as of a couple days ago, there'd been 150 million downloads of the app. And the way you sign up is kind of unique. And one of the reasons I think the numbers are as big as they are, quite frankly, is that one of the ways that you can sign up is basically just right through your Instagram account. So it takes all these people that are already utilizing Instagram and immediately allows them quickly and easily to inject themselves right into the Thread platform. I know you had shared a graphic with me the other day about how quickly platforms got to scale, got to different milestones as far as size, and it was astounding. Threads is blowing all of them out of the water. Do you have that? I mean,
No, I'm looking at it now. So this was the time it took to reach 1 million users. For Netflix, it was 3.5 years, Airbnb 2.5, Facebook 10 months, Spotify 5 months, Instagram 2.5 months.
This is to reach 1 million users.
1 million users. That's why I was trying to phrase the next one, because it's iPhone. It took 74 days to get 1 million users of iPhone, 5 days for Chat GPT, and 1 hour for Threads.
See, I mean, it's as of the last time I checked, which this may be an old figure because it was, I think, the end of last week, and this thing's growing so fast. This may already be an outdated number, but it was 150 million. So, I mean, and that was, I mean, Threads is what? I mean, I don't even think it's a month old at this time, is it?
Probably, 2 or 3 weeks old. And I think I might have my numbers off, but I thought that Twitter had 300 million users. So it's already halfway, essentially, in the number that I think that Twitter is at. I probably am wrong. But just the fact that it's gotten that big so fast is pretty amazing.
Well, and I think, again, if you've used it, it's going to feel a lot like Twitter. I mean, there's going to be differences and things like that. The reason we're bringing it up is not, I mean, I know I could probably hear a lot of your eyes rolling and be like, great, another social media platform I got to pay attention to. What my advice would be is whenever you see something come along this quickly and grow that quickly, it's something to pay attention to. Just like we talked last week about ChatGPT, Bard, and a lot of those things like that. I think that, when something grows this quickly, as a business owner, it makes sense for you to at least be knowledgeable about what it is. Doesn't mean you need to jump in both feet and start utilizing it and paying a whole bunch of attention to it. But you at least want to make sure you understand what it is. And quite honestly, I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know what's going to be a big platform, a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. but I do know that things are always changing, as I mentioned a minute ago, and that if you wait until it's already a popular platform, you've probably missed the sweet spot of actually getting, really growing in that platform and really being able to benefit. Because by the time it's really popular and everybody's talking about it, you've kind of missed that initial sweet spot of being able to do that. I mean, one of the things you and I spoke about just last week was Facebook groups. And, I was able to launch Window Film Pros group early on. Now it's just about, it might be over 11 years old, but it's at least, over 10 years old, coming in at 11, close to 11 years. And part of that was just paying attention to what was happening and realizing there's no industry oriented group and going ahead and launching it. And one of the reasons I think that group has grown and still holds a very strong place within the industry is because it was one of the earliest. It was the oldest group and one of the earliest ones. Now there's 35, 40, I don't even know how many groups there are in the industry, but with a couple exceptions, I mean, there's none that have grown to have that level of influence and that level of users, because there's a benefit to being early. And that's why I think you need to pay attention to these platforms. And again, that doesn't mean you need to go crazy, but at least be conscious of them. And if they turn out to not be the big deal that you thought maybe they could be, like I'm thinking of things like Clubhouse. I mean, we ran a weekly Clubhouse meeting for over a year, and it was very beneficial, but Clubhouse sort of fell out of favor and not as many people were using it. And we're not really doing that weekly Clubhouse anymore. But does that mean it was useless for the year that we did it? No. I mean, it was a useful tool for the year we utilized it, but then things changed and we changed with it.
Yeah, I think one of the answers that I gave her within understanding why Threads has become so popular, I think right now it's the only app that doesn't have ads on it. And that's kind of a big thing too. You're not sitting there swiping every fifth swipe and there's somebody trying to sell you something. And whether there's no bots, everybody that kind of integrated their Instagram profile on, you kind of know who's out there and who you're talking to versus an egg that's on Twitter. So I think it's definitely has that more of like a secure feel, like who you're talking to. And that's kind of one of the things that people, when I was first couple of days was on there, that everybody's saying this feels like social media was 20 years ago when it was first starting, whether it's MySpace or the Facebook. It was, you didn't have ads. You kind of knew who everybody was. There was definitely much more of like this community of people that you could talk to. And that kind of goes with what you were saying with Facebook groups. And I know that's one of Gary Vee's big pushes is like start a group, be the spot where people are kind of talking about whatever particular topic that you're on. And so that's definitely a way to kind of, if it's something that you want to think about as far as how to use Threads, if it's something that you are willing to go try. I understand there's lots of people. I haven't joined the last 3. I only deal with Facebook or Instagram, and I totally get that. But if you are interested in doing it, understand how to use that platform properly in a way. Obviously, it's going to be different than Facebook. If you're just having a conversation, you could pose something like, if you have an ice cream shop, like whether you have Jenny's and you're like, hey, what was your favorite flavor? And kind of you can get the feedback and try to engage the people a little bit more in a not so spammy type of way. And then that way you can kind of have a conversation, understand who your clientele is, or just the kind of people who might be a forever customer of yours, just because you can have a regular conversation with them rather than just sticking an ad in front of them.
Yeah, absolutely.